few days ago I was looking at my Sun single and wondering about the push marks. For those who don't know about them, many original Sun singles, not just Elvis, have 3 circular indents under the paper label, and these have been called push marks. I worked for many years in thermoplastic injection moulding, and to me push marks are caused when a newly moulded plastic object is pushed out of the mould by metal pins. When you look inside many plastic parts, you'll see the marks left by these pins going into the warm plastic. So I assumed that this was what I was seeing. However, further research revealed not only that there was a different source to these marks, but led me into the process of how records were made. Luckily, in the mid-1950s, RCA produced a film showing the process of making a record. So I thought I would take a look at this and add some extra information. Of course, it all begins in a recording studio. Originally, the live music was sung and played into large horns to capture the performance. The introduction of microphones significantly improved the sound quality. The recording was originally made directly onto a lacquer disc, which made errors costly. The introduction of magnetic tape again improved the sound quality and meant that tape could be reused. The selected master tape was next turned into a lacquer. This was a very carefully prepared blank disc, into which a needle carefully translated the tape music into a physical groove. The disc was then carefully inspected under a microscope. The master tape was sent to be archived for future use. The approved lacquer was then sent to have a thin silver coating added. So now we have a silver-plated lacquer. Next, it was placed in a solution to add a layer of nickel. This was then put into another solution to add a thin layer of fine copper. Next, a thicker layer of copper was added to make the disc more rigid. The delicate process of separating the original lacquer from the layers of coating was next. This produced the master. So now we have the original lacquer, which could be played, and the master disc, which had a negative of the disc on it, so what were grooves are now raised ridges. The disc is then peeled again. This left a silver copper disc and a nickel disc, which was the stamper. The master was then played to check for quality, and kept to produce further stampers when the original started to wear. So we've gone from tape to lacquer to master to mould to stamper, and from the stamper comes the actual record. Next, the reverse of the stamper was carefully smoothed flat for mounting in the press. The centre hole was then punched. This had to be perfectly central. RCA always had the latest cutting-edge technology. In fact, they invented much of it. But Sam Phillips was running Sun on a very limited budget. The machine he used to create the stamper accurately located the disc in the centre using 3 locating pins, and these were the pins that caused the marks. This is the actual Sun stamper for That's Alright Mama. But not all Sun singles have these marks. Sam Phillips would send his stampers to a company called Plastic Products in Chelsea Avenue, Memphis, who would produce, it is believed, batches of 500 discs. If a record really started selling well, Sam would contract a plant in Los Angeles to produce larger quantities. It must be assumed that they produced their own stampers, which did not use locating pins. So back to our new stamper, which is next cut into a perfect circle. The 2 stampers for side A and side B are next fitted into the press. Vinyl records are made from PVC, or polyvinyl chloride, a synthetic polymer. Invented in 1913, it is actually derived from salt and oil, and in its raw state is a bright white. So when we talk of coloured vinyl, in fact the first black discs had to be coloured. It is accepted that black vinyl sounds better than coloured. One reason for this may be the different temperatures that have to be used to melt the PVC according to the colour. Was it a fortunate coincidence that black sounded better, or did they experiment? A defined quantity of PVC granules were put into a small press that forced the granules into a soft lump. Next, the two printed paper labels were placed on the stampers. The lump of soft PVC was then placed in the centre of the bottom stamper. The press was closed and high pressure and heat applied to form the recording. The new record was then placed in a machine that trimmed the edges to a perfect circle. Of course, once the new record was approved for production, there were automatic machines to produce large quantities quickly. The production copies were then moved into the packaging department to have a final visual inspection, then be put into their sleeves, boxed, labelled and shipped. It is interesting that the film included at the end a look at some current RCA product, and here we can see LPM 1254 and the EP. So back to the Sun singles. If you want a Memphis made Sun original, you need to see the marks. The 78s did not have these marks. But of course for many fans these are not affordable. The closest that you can get is to be found on the 2006 Memphis Recording Service package, The Beginning of Elvis Presley Volume 1. This included a single-sided pressing of That's Alright Mama, made from the original Sun stamper. So back to the record that started all of this. Here are the 3 marks on mine. But we should stop calling them push marks and maybe call them locating marks. I hope that was of interest, something a little bit different. Till next time, bye for now.